Can you hear the music? Fuck yeah. Oh,
Oh, that was sweet. We have fireworks in the background.
are you using an iPhone?
No, I'm using the MacBook.
What? I'm using a MacBook. It doesn't do
There's
it.
a couple different ones too. Like sometimes it'll give you a heart. People have no clue what we're talking about because we're on audio. But there's just like fireworks going when I do little hand symbols on the screen. It's absolutely
Dude,
radical.
I know on the iPhone it does it, but I didn't realize it did it on the Mac, Like,
Yes, sometimes I do I'll do a motion and a little heart will pop up and I'm like, I don't know what I did, but cool. But I guess
Are
now we know how
you
to get the fireworks.
are you on a laptop or are you on a
Yeah.
PC?
Yeah, I'm on the laptop. I'm on my
Fuck,
MacBook.
I'm on the laptop. Come on, work you. Jesus Christ.
Give the man his emoji. There's another one. I can't remember what it is.
Give me this. There's like, fuck, I don't even know, man. Fuck, whatever.
The
Welcome back.
fireworks were electric though, man. The hard rock was going. The fireworks were pumping, man. That was a good one. I love it.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna look visually appealing, visually pleasing. Just visually appealing sounds the best, I guess. uh, shit. All right, welcome back to another episode of On the Throne with Dick. And shout out to Senjin Boychuk for that intro outro music. I fucking love that guy, man. Just solid individual. On this week's episode, man, how long we been planning this one for?
I don't know. I bet you we've been chatting back and forth in the DMs, what, like a year or 2 years maybe. I'm sure I razzed you a couple of times, being like, "Hey, bud, let's do one together." Back when I think the show was even a little smaller, and then now we finally hooked up and did one. So I'm stoked to be here and stoked for you to have me on here. Obviously, a big
I'm
fan
so
of the blue collar comedy stuff you do out in the patch
like
and everywhere at work. So it's fun.
I appreciate the hell out of that, man. We got TKB Tyrone, and he's like the owner or the CEO of Bush League Media.
Yeah, I think it's just a small. It's like you on the throne, except even smaller. The CEO of nothing big, but I guess it's a side gig for me. I'm like you, a blue collar guy. I've been in the oil field for 20 years now. I worked on the rigs for many years, and then I've had my own small little oil field company now for 12 or 13 years here in the community of Kindersley. And then it kind of Bush League Media, kind of I guess, is something that grows out of a passion for me. I know for you, like you're a dad, you work in the industries and stuff. And I guess once I had my little girl, I kind of realized I like what I do, but it's stressful and it's maybe not exactly my passion or my dream. And wanted to try to kind of do something that maybe I could show my daughter and my kid, follow your heart a little bit, maybe not all just about money. Whether it goes anywhere for me or not, who knows? So far, pretty unsuccessful, but having a lot of fun doing it with my buddy. We do a show on Sunday nights and stuff there too, but mostly just having fun with it. So
You know
more,
what?
more oil field than anything.
Honestly, man, like I don't remember my parents having a hobby or anything that they enjoyed doing. They went to work, they came home miserable. Maybe drinking beer and fucking, being a miserable prick was, like that was their hobby. Like I'm miserable in life and I'm gonna be the biggest piece of shit on the planet. That's my hobby, right? I don't know, man. But like, I feel like it's important, to show my kids anyway that, you know, dad's not just about work. You know what I mean? Dad had fun. Dad went out and he worked his ass off and he provided for the family and he came home and hung out and but on the side, he had fun. He had something that sparked passion, you know what I mean? And like the content, man, the content and the podcast and just that kind of shit, man. That's it for me, and it's helped with my mental health along the way and listening to other people's podcasts and listening to other people on my podcast, pour their heart out or talk about their issues and whatnot has helped me along the way, and that's all I could really ask for, It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. It's like I said, it's been fun watching you do some of the comedy skits and all that stuff. I was always entertained by some of the backtrack stuff, and that's what kind of got me giggling as a guy who spent time up north of Fort Mac working on the drilling rigs. I knew exactly where you were, what you were doing, so kind of got a kick out of watching it. It was always entertaining, and I was like, oh, this guy's got some balls to be making the goofy videos out on location like that. So it's good because we got to, like you said, show your kids you got a little character and just have I guess a personality. Don't go as Canadians maybe don't go too liberal and just follow what you're told to do. Have a little bit of yourself and learn to not follow the herd and be a bit creative. Something even I'm trying to step out of more, I guess, as I get older. And so again, it's cool to watch you do it, and it's fun to it's been pretty entertaining. A lot of your shit's pretty funny.
I appreciate that, man. That's that's great. We had Harbringer on the podcast last week, and she was someone who, I'd never. She's not a big creator. She doesn't have a lot of followers. She just, she does her thing. She's a hotshot driver. She started her own company. She wanted to be a harbinger of change, right? And she's a woman in the industry, and she got shit on and whatnot. But she just stumbled across my live randomly, right? And was like, "Hey, you got a podcast?" And she started listening to the podcast, right? And then she, you could tell, she'd be like, "Hey, I went down and I listened to this one today," and then I listened to like four more over the course of a week, and then she's listened to about 100 of them now. And I think that's so cool. Someone who just stumbled upon it, found me on social media, and we got to talking, and now she's on the podcast, right? And it's all about making them kind of connections. And then same with you. You know what I mean? Like you were just a guy who was like kind of fucking being trolly in the comments section, right? And I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, man, who shit in this guy's cereal, right? And fucking yeah, you're like, no, man, I'm just trying to help your engagement, bro. And I'm like, fuck, all right, cool. And then I love seeing your name pop up with a comment. I always go right to read it. I'm like, fucking TKB, commented again.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I guess the little inside jokes of the patch and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So I was just like, I fire something one way or another because you always picked on the vac truck guys, right? I'm sure I kind of was thinking one day, I'm like, geez, I got a lot of my buddies from back home in like Yorkton or Silva and Red Deer that worked up north. They probably, who knows, they probably picked on you one day up there because that was just what riggers did some days with the vac truck guys, right? But I always respected them too. They do a very, very, very hard job up there on call 24 hours a day when you're in there for whatever it might be, a week, 2 weeks at a time. It's definitely can be a strenuous job. Or as things go wrong, you're just awake forever, right? So
well, fuck.
even though poke fun, I'm a guy who always has respect for all the services. I am a service, right? I see it now as a guy who I used to run a rig or work on service rigs and drilling rigs, and would pick fun at guys, and then now I'm that guy. So I just kind of giggle because I expect it when I show up on location, and you kind of get a little poke from guys, and then they realize that I've been doing it for a long time, and it's always a funnier, right? But no, it's just always there. Try to push the algo for you, brother, and get a few comments rolling. Maybe poke at something. You see, the positive stuff. I tried that shit. Doesn't work. The negative stuff, for some reason, it works. I wish that wasn't the way the world worked on social media, but it seems to be the way that it works a little bit. Maybe I'm incorrect.
Nobody can do anything with a positive comment, right? Thanks, smiley face. But a negative comment always gets the fire going, right? Like it always starts like, man, on Facebook, I noticed like if I really want to make money on Facebook, I post a controversial video or a whiny video, even like pretending like I'm whining about something, and people take it as Bible. They take my video as like, man, this guy's a bitch. This guy's whiny. Holy fuck, get a different job if you don't. No, bro, I like my job. Okay, I like my job, but doesn't mean that sometimes it's lonely, hard, and tedious. Both things can be true. I can like my job, and also it can be hard on my mind and my body, right?
Yeah.
It can be both, right? So yeah, man, like I just drop a comment in there, and it's like a little grenade. I throw the grenade in the comment section, I watch it blow up, and then I leave for like 4 hours, and then I come back, and like 20 people are just going at each other, right? And dude, it's hilarious. It's funny. I always say to those people, I'm like, man, if you're taking this shit seriously, go fucking touch grass, because
Yeah.
bro, like this is the internet, man. You know what I mean? Like nothing here is serious,
Yeah, I mean, like I say, at times I wish it was a little more serious, but it seems like it really rolls in the opposite direction, and I'm sure we'll dive into that a little bit later or whatever in the show. But no, it's entertaining for sure to see how
Yeah,
it works. Like, I mean, I think, like I said, I have been very successful with any of my videos or anything on social media, but the one that did the best I ever did was I just made some little AI video of like a goose stomping out an eagle when Canada won the gold medal game in hockey, and said that they're the 11th province now, and there's so many just angry Americans arguing and fighting, and I was like, oh, I think I'm onto some. But then I tried to do something again with the second one, it just flops, right? And I'm sure you've been through that as a creator, where you're like, oh, I think I'm onto something, but you try it again, nope, doesn't work, right?
Well, that's just it, man. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta go with times, and there is like a strategy to it, right? I've noticed, when I post in the middle of the day, right? All the people I want to watch are in the middle of their workday. They're busy working or they're sleeping. They're on night shift, right? So I really want to post something that does good. I gotta post at like 5:30, 6 a.m. Around noon. People are getting their food, or 6 p.m. No, I said 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m., 7:30, no later than that. And then I figured Facebook is kind of like a wild child. I can post it anytime. The video will do whatever. But as far as TikTok and Instagram go, my engagement went down a little bit on Instagram for a little while. I couldn't figure it out. Right? I was posting, my hot time was between 3 and 5, so I just kept hitting it. Right. Well, I didn't notice, but the algorithm changed. Right now, the hot time is between 6 and 9. So I figured it out a few days ago. I posted a couple videos up there around 6:37, and yeah, they just popped off again. Right. I'm like, oh shit, all right.
It'd be interesting if they just told you so that you knew and didn't have to sit there and try and figure it out. Hey, that'd be super helpful.
Yeah, yeah, it would be super helpful, but it is in your insights. I get it. They should they'd be cool if they'd update it and be like, "Hey, you, I know you're not gonna read this. Smack you in the face with it, right?" But whatever. I don't know how long it was like that for before I finally decided to go in and read. I'm like, "Why the fuck am I not getting any engagement, bro?" Like, And then I checked, and that's what it was.
Nice, cool. I'll have to maybe razz you sometime off the show about how to like properly read the insights and learn it and stuff like that. But I guess before all that, I'm curious for myself how you ended up. I'm always curious how people. I know it's your show, but how people get into the patch and how you ended up north, because I spent some time up there. I know you were many years in Fort Mac back and forth, but how'd you end up vac trucking in the patch? Was it that's
Oh
what you planned to do, or you just started vac trucking and that's where you ended up? Or
Oh shit, brother! Wow. So I got my start in the patch in Grand Prairie. Oh fuck, 13 years ago.
nice.
I was in the patch. I was working on a crusher, and I was 20, 22, 23 years old, man. I had life by the balls, right? My spirit hadn't been fucking stomped out of me yet, right? My
Yeah.
lust for life, right? Hadn't been stomped out of me yet, and I get up in there and I get the job. And first of all, I was working at Leon's in Saskatoon. I lived in Saskatoon for a couple years. I'm
Yeah,
from Ontario.
I'm only 2 hours away. So
Yeah, I'm from Ontario originally. Came out. I was in BC for a bit, Banff, then Saskatoon, right? And I was 19, 20 years old, something like that. And fucking, I was working at Leon's, and a bunch of guys from the patch started working there because the barrel crashed, and they needed a job. And so, buddy was a delivery driver. His name's Daniel. He actually lives in Duck Lake. I still talk to him. Good guy.
nice.
And the guy almost punched me out a couple times because I was just them riggers, right? They want things done a certain way, and I think he was a driller. And so yeah, man, I'm like, how do you get into the oil patch, bro? And he's like, well, you got to have your H2S, your first aid, yada yada yada, and just apply, right? So I went out, and one by one I got my tickets, and then the first job I applied to, I sent a fax out, and they
Good
got
old
back to
days.
me. Yeah, they got back to me within an hour. And I told my wife, I'm like, hey, so I applied for this job working away, right? And they want me to start like 2 days from now. She's like, what? And I'm like, well, this is the money. This is what we can make. This is, 5-year plan, right? Get in with 5 years, fucking out. That was 13 years ago, right? Anyway, that job came and went. Then where did I start? I went to Fort Mac. I went to the Husky Sunrise Project. I helped build the Husky Sun. It's not Husky anymore; it's Synovus. But
Yeah.
I helped build the Husky Sunrise Project. I was there for a year, just over a year, and it was part of the CLAC union. And fuck, I hate CLAC, man. So I I my boss and my supervisor and I didn't get along too well. And he said to me, I told him, I'm like, I'm going to Disney World, planning a trip with my wife. Here's my time off request sheet, handed in. I gave him 6 months notice, right? And he's like, yeah, all right, cool. And then, months went by. I'm like, hey, everything's good to go, right? And he's like, yeah, man, yeah, it's been approved. You're good, right? 2 weeks prior, I'm like, hey, man, we're good to go. He's like, oh, I don't know. I think I forgot to hand that in, man. Right? And I've been dumping money into this trip this whole time, right? Like thousands of dollars. And so I'm like, oh shit. So we went and talked. They put a freeze on going on holidays right just before I asked, right? So I was like, oh shit.
Naturally.
So I'm like, man, I need to leave, right? I told him like 6 months ago I was going on this trip. And they're like, we can't do anything about it, man. Your room's booked. We can't. And I'm like, I'll pay for my room, not be in it for an extra 3 days because I originally was supposed to leave Wednesday. I wanted to leave Sunday. That's all I wanted was 3 days,
Yeah.
right? And they're like,
They,
sorry, we
they
can't.
wouldn't give it to you back in the day.
They wouldn't fucking give it to me. I needed them more than they needed me, and that's how they put it, right?
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't give it to me. So on Sunday afternoon, I'm at work, and I'm like, hello, hello, and then I put my phone out. I'm like, man, I gotta go home. My wife just got into a car accident, bro. Like she's fucking badly hurt, right? Of course they see through this, right? And then they're like, okay, so after a couple minutes talking, like, okay, you can go, but you got to pay for your own way home. I'm like, done. I just gotta go, man. I got my wife's hurt. I gotta go, right? So I pay for my own way home. I think I took a Greyhound out of Fort Mac to Saskatoon. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Was I in Saskatoon? I was in Edmonton. No, yeah, I was in Edmonton.
That's a trip. That's an extra quick five extra
Yeah.
hours.
So I get home. I get home and I go on my trip and I posted pictures of Disney World and all this other shit on, and I blocked everyone except for a couple people apparently. And when I get back, there was a leak. One of those fuckers ratted on me, right? They're like, "Oh, you went to Disney World," and they're like, "So you went to Disney World, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my wife got into a car accident. We already had this trip planned, and I figured it's already planned. I already got all this money into her,
Like, why
and
why would you not go?
why would I not go?" Right? And they're like, well, you left a couple days early. Can you prove that your wife was in a car accident? Fuck. Right? So I went on my Facebook a few days prior to that, right? I'm not dumb. And one of my friends had been in a car accident. And I fucking took a screenshot of their car and the woman, my friend, in a neck brace. And I'm like, here's my wife. They're like, that's not your wife, bro. Like, you're Facebook, right? I'm like, fuck, that's the last time I put you fuckers on Facebook, right? Like, fuck you guys.
Just
And
get mad at the coworkers.
yeah, man. So fucking, I got let go, man. The union wouldn't go to bat for me, and I got let go, dude. And yeah. And the supervisor, the superintendent, he told me, man, where you went wrong is you gave details. You just say family emergency, gotta go, and they can't ask questions.
Yeah, that's fair.
Family
That's fair.
emergency, gotta go, done. That's it. Family emergency, shut the fuck up about the rest. You said she was in a car accident. That's details. Now they have the right to know those details, right?
No, that's good. And I think a lot of stuff like that too is probably why I like aspired to maybe have my own business and not be at the will of it. But it was definitely different. Like I say, I started on the rigs in I guess 2005 at the
Yeah.
end of then or early 2006. So it's been like about 20 years. And you could at that time like if you didn't show up for work, the crew truck could literally just pick a guy up at 7-Eleven in the morning and he'd come out and start roughnecking and release handing. Like it was a different world. Everybody wanted a job. Everybody needed a job. Nobody was getting like free government handouts because I just don't understand how most people like don't need jobs now. It's kind of crazy, right? But
Well,
it was a whole different world. Like,
it's not that. It's not that, right? It's what they're paying nowadays, right? The pay and the cost of living, right? Like you can't afford to not work, but right now there's a lot of people who can't afford to work. You know what I mean? Like you're paying me 20, 30, 40 bucks an hour or less or whatever. You're paying me, let's say you're paying me 35 bucks an hour, right? Like I can't afford that. I
yeah,
can't afford that, right? Like how can I get by on that with everything going up? I haven't had a raise in fucking 4 years, bro. You know what I mean? Like
I
where's my
haven't had a raise since I started my company.
yeah,
Really, 13 years. But I mean,
shit.
a lot of it, I think now, like I say, like the cost of living again huge is why you could live off making 20, 30, 40 bucks an hour back then running or working on a rig. Now I think you start at like 40 bucks an hour almost, and that can be
Roughnecks, forty
can
dollars
be
and 50 cents. Yeah,
that can be hard. But I mean, a lot of it comes down to like different decisions our country's made. I as an oil field guy, I really believe the backbone of our country is energy sectors, whether it be food, farming, construction, but like oil field and farming is like just so massive. If we don't have heat, if we don't have oil, if we don't have energy in this country, like what do we have? We literally need those things in winter. You can't survive in winter on solar and wind and all these things they're trying to do. And then when you implement things like a carbon tax where a general consumer sits there and goes, "Oh, it's 17 cents on the dollar at the pump." It's not at all, right? It's literally like $1 a liter because they're forcing the companies that are drilling the wells and producing it to now, okay, you got to pay a tax to just produce natural gas, and then from that, the person sending it down the pipeline's got to pay a carbon tax on top of it to send the same product down the line. And the refiner, or well, we don't refine because we ship it south, but
Yeah.
either way, it gets refined. It's got to come back. We got to pay a carbon tax to buy the fuel. And it people sit there and think it's a one tax thing, but it's literally all these different taxations we have, and I really think it like harms our country a lot because it makes everything so expensive. I mean, since COVID and the big implements and rises of it, fuel literally for me, especially like now, I run hot oilers, and I just again just a small little oil field company in Kindersley. That community's been very great to me. That's why I've been here. I've spent 20 years here. I really enjoy a lot of the people here, and it's a great community. But for myself, my business specifically, I burn fuel. We burn a lot of diesel to heat, thaw paraffins in wells, thaw tanks in winter, push pipelines, et cetera, et cetera. And when fuel spikes that much, all of a sudden the cost of my company just skyrockets, and then it
Yeah.
comes, and that's the people. It almost feels a lot of times like it's made to get rid of the small businesses and made to just have it people working the big corporations that run under the government because you get all that. Well, now I got to pay property tax to ensure that our communities are upheld. That's fine. I got to pay road tax to make sure the roads are upheld. That's fine. But we get all this government BS in there that drains all the money that's supposed to do the things it's supposed to do. Like it just, we got to get rid of it because that's where the whole, to me, I just I really think that's where the whole cost of living comes. They're just taking all the money that's supposed to be coming from these energy things and running different parts of our country and different areas, and it just being funneled up by government and the cost
Yeah.
of living through the roof. And it's people like me and you out there, trying to raise kids, trying to have a family, trying to be good people, contributing to society. It can be hard a little bit, right? No matter what you're doing in it. But as an oil field guy, it's like they got to just let us produce energy and do things in this country to bring that down. And that to me would just be something important because I want to see my kid like be able to live. I sit there some days and go, wow, like I worked really hard in the oil field. I gave up a lot of time with no days off to try to build a company and be successful. And I have. I live a very good life, but by no means am I like rich, successful, and ahead of the bank and government where you want to be. But you're like, man, I want to leave something for my kid. I want to make it easier for them because it seems like the cost is just going to keep going up unless something changes somewhere, right?
Yeah, man, it is insane, and like you said, since COVID, right? Like a lot of, I posted, what was it? Shit, probably mm, March or April of 2021. I've said the last time a government printed this much money, without anybody keeping them in check, was Zimbabwe when they went to war with the Congo. Yeah, with the Congo,
That's an
right?
interesting stat.
Inflation rose in Zimbabwe 81% over 10 years, right? Where are we at right now? Where are we at right now? It's been 5 years. We're 5 years post COVID.
Yeah, and it's
Where
like
are we at?
we run the worst economy in the whole G7. We've
Where are
had
we at?
almost no growth. I think 1.4% growth or whatever. I'm not sure the exact inflation number, so I don't want to say the wrong one off the tip of my tongue, right? But it's
Yeah.
just horrible, right? And I don't want to get like crazy political on it, but it really blows my mind that we kind of followed the same path here in the last election, and now we see that there's like conflicts of interest that like everybody's like, oh well, now well we knew the whole time. So what do you mean? Like if you
Hey,
have a
man.
person whose business interests are in a different country, well, it's not going to benefit yours because a lot of people they don't get how it really works because these other corporations, they don't necessarily want to see Canadians succeed, right? There's definitely companies out there that they benefit more from being able to supply. If there's a say oil, for example, it's an industry that I understand. Well, there's a global supply or a global demand of oil, right? And that's fed to by all the markets that play into or have the right to sell into those markets. And so when you can cap Canadian oil and convince Canadians that it's in the name of stopping emissions and all this stuff, well, now you, if per se you owned an oil field company overseas that can produce the product for half or a quarter of the price, you stand to benefit greatly by capping how much Canada could supply to the world and then just letting your company supply it from over there. And people don't get that. Like, you have to look at those things. It's not conspiracy theory things when you have a politician in power who has interests in companies that aren't Canadian.
Yeah.
You really have to question how that could be good for your country and your children, because at the end of the day all that happens is they benefit from making sure you don't do it. Like, even all the tariff stuff that people want to argue about, it doesn't even matter. Like, my life was bad before that at the cost of living, like, that didn't do anything. And if anything, it literally benefits some of our politicians because they have American companies. It's like wicked good for them to keep the elbows up and pants down, because
Oh,
we're losing and they're winning.
I was gonna say that, man. When they said elbows up, did they really mean ass up, face down, or what?
As
Like,
the ass left, there's
or
the
was it
elbow.
elbows up like this, or was it elbows up in the defense posture? Like
Well,
you're gonna throw jabs, right?
either way, because I think it came from like a hockey term is where they started, right? Like,
Yeah.
elbows up. We're gonna fight dirty against Trumpster. Well, like, what? How is that even a good slogan? Like, we're gonna fight. No, it's politics. We're actually
Yves,
that's
Yves
actually not.
Blanchette, Yves Blanchette of the Bloc de Québécois said it the best at the debate, right?
Yeah, I
He was
remember. I don't remember
he,
lying.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey guys, you know what? You guys are arguing over Pierre versus Carney because of Trump. Trump's going to be gone in 3 years, right? Like, what are we doing here? Right? What are we doing here?" And yeah, it's been a ride. It's been one hell of a ride so far.
Yeah, I just hope in the end that there's like I hope a lot left for our children, because I love this country, right? As a person who's grown up here, I'm 38 years old now, and have a little girl that's 5, and then like you mentioned being through Banff and stuff. Like, that's some of the nicest country in the whole planet that I've ever been to, right here in our back door, and it's just really cool to have this be our homeland. But I feel like it was really a different world when we were kids, right? You were talking about it in one of the other shows about, I can't remember the exact context, but back in the day, being able, I think it was chasing after a phone or something with your sister. And it's like, yeah, everything's so much different in our societies now. The kids aren't running around down the street safely. The community is like the one thing that I think we're missing, whether it be the internet that started it. And then I really think, again, COVID just like sliced community apart in everywhere, because at the end of the day, community is what like stops all the really stops inflation and stops government from doing this to all of us. Because if people are getting together and hanging out and doing things and figuring out how to get along and not argue and have differing opinions, like, I used to think a value of this country and of just of being a man or a woman was like being able to have differing opinions, discuss, come to middle ground, get along, shake hands, and continue on your day like a happy Canadian, the way that I thought this country was supposed to be. And I fall victim to being like one of the angry people now because of how much it's changing, I think. And a lot of it just because I just things are mismanaged at the top,
We're
right? And
getting
and
old,
that
brother. We're getting
for sure.
old. We're not getting angry. We're getting old. We're
Yeah,
bitter. Remember when Dad was a fucking asshole, and you're just like, man, what's that guy's problem? Maybe this has always been the problem, man. Maybe this is it. This is it,
yeah,
man. Maybe we're just of age where we're seeing it now, right? I
yeah.
don't know. I don't
No,
know.
it's it's definitely true.
You're definitely right, man. One thing we are lacking though is community, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I mean it's a big thing. Like, I've been working to try to build a skate park in Kinnersley, which is something the town's been supporting now, and we're trying to move that project forward. It's something I brought forth many years ago, just to have a free outdoor use place where people can get together. Kids can go hang out, get off their phones, get off their iPad, go learn an activity because I was like, it's something I think is needed. Get out there, have people interact, learn to get along, interact in different activities, and yeah, just like bring back community. It's kind of the whole like that's the blue collar Canadian way, right? Is
Hell yeah.
it's go to work, build something for your family, and have a community that gets along and enjoys the fruits of everyone's combined labors, right?
Fucking rights, buddy. Hey, how did you get into the oil field? Like, I was gonna ask you that, and then you asked me that, and
No, I was gonna
yeah,
say we got the story of Frost, so that's cool. But no, I guess when I got into it, so I was a young guy. I grew up in Yorkton, Saskatchewan, so on the other side of the country, province, not country.
I was gonna say the other side. I'm like, wait, what are we talking about here?
Not that far away. I grew up in Yorkton, and so when I finished high school, wanted to go out to the rigs, kind of wanted to come west. I was an avid snowboarder, kind of skateboarder. I played a lot of hockey and stuff growing up too, but really wanted to go west and kind of really pursue like snowboarding was something I wanted to do. And so I knew I wanted to go maybe get a job on the rigs and like you said, have a couple year plan, get some cash, go right. And so as a young guy, I came out here, and how it worked is I actually moved up to Lloydminster. So my grandmother, God rest her soul, she lived up in Lloyd, and I went up there. She let me live with her because I wanted to find a job in the oil field. That was obviously a booming place back in '05 area. Got up there, ended up finding a job with rigs, a company called Sandy Ross, which is out of Kinnersley here, Sandy Ross Well Servicing, and literally picked me up at 7-Eleven in Lloydminster, and I got on that rig. We worked on that rig for 3-4 days, and then the rig got shipped back to Kindersley. I was supposed to live in Lloyd full time. That's where the rig was supposed to be. You're supposed to get every second weekend off. Well, fuck, that shit never happened, man. I never got a day off ever. You just worked ever. And like we said earlier, you could give up your job, but like kind of fell in love with the boys, right? Like it was a thing where like back when I started, and I was a small dude, right? But I was a tenacious motherfucker. So like they for sure like tried to run me off the rigs and shit. Like 100%. The first crew, like every day after work, literally would fight with the driller, and they'd probably think I wasn't coming back the next day. After like 4 or 5 days, they're like, "Holy shit! Like this kid's pretty tenacious." You know what I mean? And just the good old rig days, right? But that's really what it came down to, and just kind of had a brotherhood because that's what rigging really. If people haven't worked it, I always say everybody should go work on like a rig for a year because there's just this camaraderie, but also this something you learn because people are like, oh, you're assholes, all this and that. I mean, yes, but there's also like this aspect of like, you need to know that that dude beside you is going to fucking handle the bullshit when the bullshit comes and like save your life and deal with shit. Like you need to know that that dude's there. It's a real different level of things. Now, the world's a little safer now and it's not as hardcore out there. The patches, I would say a little bit softer. You're still going to find that camaraderie and that same brotherhood on all the rigs. They're still somewhat just as dangerous, and that's still there. It's maybe not as hardcore as it was. Like I kind of lived through the age of you can't run and yell anymore. Now you got to walk and be nice. Like that transition, I would say, kind of happened in like 2010, 12. Like I really feel like that's when it
Yeah,
started moving that maybe a little
getting worse.
before.
It's getting worse.
But like I think that's a big part of it. That's why everybody's always picking on the services and making sure I think that comes from a stem of like making sure those guys are able to handle their shit when they're out there. And eventually, sometimes it becomes bullying or who knows what it is out there sometimes. But that's really what it comes down to is knowing you have that brotherhood and a lot of those guys. It just I've been friends with for most of my life, and that's kind of again why I've stuck around here because some of those guys are my best friends, and they got wives, kids, and I've been blessed. Really, that's why I stuck around Kindersley. Is I've been blessed to really be home almost every night for the last, I guess, since I started this company 12, 13 years. I've really been able to work in this area again, be able to come home, have a home base, which is something I enjoyed because with the service rigs, I did a little bit of, a little bit of both, like working on the road, working here around town. Working on the road, you make more money, right? But I also spent more money because I was bored. So I'd be out like drinking and gambling or like doing things. When you're single, I don't know. I know you've been, I think, married for quite a while. Like when you're single, you're out chasing honeys and you're doing all that stuff on the road. So I almost found like I didn't really make any more money on the road than when I was at home. and I enjoyed the peace of being home. So I always was, happy with making a little less. And then obviously got an opportunity through a friend of mine, Jeff, to go work for him, running his hot oiler, help him expand his business. Guys I met through working on the rigs over the years and stuff. They were out at my rig all the time, working and doing jobs for us when I was running a rig for Sandy in town here. And then eventually helped me start my company, which is pretty awesome. And I've contracted under Holland's Hot Oiling in Kindersley here now for 12, 13 years. So I subcontract my equipment under them, and then just same thing, do all well servicing. And so for people that don't know what hot oiling is, basically different areas, different wells are going to produce like a paraffin sometimes that is like a wax substance. So in this area, especially like a Viking area, Alberta, like a Cardium area, is pretty similar where they have a lot of paraffin, stuff like that. But going in and just doing high pressure, high temperature work, whether it be flushing wells to melt the wax out, or again, even when they run your pump and rods in, go in, like can usually pressure test, tell them what's wrong with their pump, sometimes flush them clean, etc. But usually give companies an understanding of, okay, now you need to put a flush bar on it and just pull the pump, or now you need to put a rig on it, pull everything out, change it, kind of give them that information. And then there's also a lot of just really like simple work, but it's still dangerous because we're heating oil on the fly or heating water. It's a pretty dangerous gig. You got to be smart when you're putting a flame to coils that are full of literal natural oil. But pretty cool job, and do that of doing a lot of hot oiling pipelines to clean them out, or tanks in winter. We're in Canada 6 months out of the year, frozen solid.
Yeah.
Go in and tanks eventually fill up with water, etc. So go in, thaw that out for companies so they can haul it out and get the room back in the tanks. And it's a pretty cool gig. And I've always, like you said earlier, even though you're like breaking your back or doing hard work or stressed out about it, I for some reason always loved it. Like there is a mental challenge to it, and there's a knowledge to it. Like people go around and think like, oh, rigging's dumb, rigging's that. Like it's some pretty hardcore stuff, and with some really like smart things involved. Engineering, understanding what rock you're drilling into, what formation you're into, knowing how to
Yeah.
control gases from coming up out of the earth. Like you're literally a little mini engineer half the time when you're out there, like figuring stuff out. So it's a cool industry to be in for sure.
Dude, you said something back about the camaraderie, right? And man, I've been off work for 4 months, right? I had a bit of an injury, and I dislocated a big bone and broke a couple. And, I was nervous. A couple people said that I would probably wouldn't be a service, I wouldn't be a field hand anymore. I probably, because of the significance of the injury, right? You probably won't be able to work in the field anymore, right? And well, I've been back for just over a week now. By the time this comes out, 2 weeks, and man, my first week back, my first day, 11 hours, boom, throw you right into the suck. Right? And every other day after that was like 13, 14s. I put just put 100 hours in in the week that I've been back, right? And I'm sore. I'm a little worse for wear. I'm
Yep.
hurting, but that's expected, man. The back of my legs, dude, I haven't worked in 4 months. The back of my legs are burning, right? Not forget the foot. The back of the legs are burning. The butt cheeks are hurting, bro.
Yeah.
The arms, the wrists, the whole body is just fucking aching. It's dying. My foot, man, my foot's not even an issue, man. But the
Leg
camaraderie,
injuries, leg injuries will get you that way for sure.
camaraderie, brother. I miss hanging out with the guys. I miss chatting with the boys, chopping it up, talking about dicks all day. Like just dropping dick jokes all day long. Like fucking the teasing and shit like that. The it's I missed it, man. I missed it. Right, been hanging out with my wife and my kids. I can't tease my kids, bro. You know what I mean? Like they're 5 and 7. They'll cry about it. You know. The way I
Call them
want
a
to.
stinky butt or something, but that doesn't kill the itch to give a beak.
Yeah, I don't want to joke around about dicks with my wife. I don't want to know what kind of dicks she's seen, right? Like I don't want to know, bro, like fuck.
Hopefully only the frosty.
Yeah, oh fuck, I hope. But yeah, I know fucking it's good to be back though, man. It's good to be fucking back, dude. And I made a post about that on fucking whatchamacallit,
One of the social medias.
on Facebook. I made a post about it yesterday. I'm so in the winter, we talked about this. You didn't know this about me either. You know, in the winter I work the patch, right?
Yeah.
And for the last 10 years now, I get out of the patch in the summertime and I go work road construction, right? I do construction. And yeah, I make more money in 3 months, 4 months than I do the rest of the year in the oil field, right? And so I get out of that. It started when the barrel took a shit in 2014, 15 there, and I needed to, keep making money, and I found this job. Well, I started at this job as a raker behind the equipment, and now I'm running that equipment, right? So, like, it's kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, fucking yeah, man, I've grown here, I've become someone here, right? And so I come back every year after year, and I didn't think I was going to get to come back this year, right? They're like, hey man, I was healing up just in time for it, like, hey, I'm going to be healed up just in time for the start of the season. And then it was, well, maybe a month into the season, and then my boss called me. He's like, I can't bring you back while you're on WCB, bro, for another company. I'm like, fuck, right? And I knew that. So when I got cleared up, the first thing I did when that doctor gave me the "you're all clear, pal, have at her," first thing I did was I called my boss here, and he's like, "Get here tomorrow," and I'm like, "Fuck, all right." So I I joined them on the road, man, and I fuck, bro, like it's kicking my ass that first week, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's been
Yeah,
good.
well, that's a mark of a man. You just power through her, and every week will get a little better.
I put on 20 pounds while I was sitting at home. I've lost probably close to
The,
that since
the
I've been
legs
back.
get a little skinny too.
My leg got crazy skinny, man. That's probably what part of
I've broken my ankles a few times, so I've gone through you can't really use your leg, and like I said, it's just like the worst because you can't really do any of the like you could do some weights and stuff, but you got to dodge a lot of the
yeah.
workouts and lifting and moving when it's your leg and the kicking back with the leg over the old hearts, right? You got to get that going.
Yeah, man. Dude, it's good to be fucking back though, brother. I can't wait to, I can't wait, man. I'm here, and daddy's home. Daddy's home. I'm back, and it did feel a little weird getting on my equipment there yesterday. They threw me on the roller, and I had to climb up, right, and pushing myself up. I'm like, ooh, that felt a little weird, right? But like, it's going to, right? It's going to feel a little weird first back and using muscles I haven't used in a while, and yeah, man.
And even too and even mentally too, right, when you're away from the game for a bit for whatever reason, like I know what I'm doing and I'm confident in what I'm doing and I own equipment, but you step away for like a long period of time. Like last year I was pretty blessed. I had the opportunity because some of the crypto stuff I've gotten into in the last few years, I was able to go out to the Olympics in Paris. I had some
Cool.
tickets through Vayner Sports to go to some events and stuff out there. So then I ended up making a trip out of it and went out to Paris for like 3 weeks and got to kind of adventure taking the Olympics, kind of one of those bucket list things that guys always wanted to do. But like even that, it's gone for a month for probably the first time ever, right? Like it was kind of like my gift to myself almost, right? Because I worked on the rigs for almost a decade and had this company for a little over a decade and never have really gone anywhere for more than a week. If I get that once a year or something, you want to be there, you want to run your company, you gotta be there to pay the bills, stay ahead of it, and all that good stuff, right? So then it's really interesting to see the way things change over time.
Yeah, fucking, I agree with that. I agree with that totally, man. It's new rules. There's been some new rules. I actually sat at home doing modified duty, so I got to look over all those procedures and shit like that, right? And like, yeah, look at that. Man, I was a white collar dude sitting at home for a while, man. It
But yeah,
was
I kind of lost my train of thought there where I was going to because I'm a bit of a burnout. But mostly just like you mentally like come back to it and you almost lose a bit of confidence too. You're like how for whatever reason you feel like a sketchy person until you get like the groove for a second, then you're like, oh, it's back to walk in the park. But for some reason, especially like big equipment, you always get that little like, wait, do I remember how to do this? But it's usually just second nature, like riding a bike,
yeah.
right? But especially you add an injury to it now, and you're coming out there and a little it's probably always a little bit like skeptical and sitting painful with the old leg. And about a week into it, a guy will be just loving it again.
Oh, dude, I'm loving it, bro. I'm moving quick. I'm
Where are
moving
you? Where are
quick.
you guys right now? Where are you paving?
Saskatoon.
Okay, so you're not far. But how long are you there for? Like, are you guys there all summer?
No.
Maybe we'll have to get together. I was just there on the weekend camping. I just actually was in Blackstrap. If I would have known that, actually, I would have maybe came around you. But I was just down in Blackstrap. That's about what, a half hour from Saskatoon. Went out there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday with my little girl and spent the weekend there.
Yeah, you were saying that you went fishing, right?
I'm not fishing. We just went and hung out and just
Oh,
like did some swimming and hanging. I actually forgot the fishing rod. I was bummed because I meant to bring it, but no, we just went out Sunday. And a friend of mine, she joined us and hung out, did the water thing all day Sunday, and then Monday, my little daughter actually went to science camp with her for the day in the city, and again just another day at the lake, and then came home. But yeah, so I didn't know you were there, but that's a random side quest story. But
yeah, man. Saskatoon, we're gonna be here probably another week or so, a week ish. But other than that, like, yeah, we're gonna be. We did the Borden. We did Borden area, Borden to Langham there for the road outside there. We're heading up to Meadow Lake and then back to Alberta for to finish off the season. We're not finish it off, but like back to do more shit there. We'll be up in Grand Prairie and White Court and stuff like that. So yeah, man, it's good. I'm excited. I'm back, dude. It's been one hell of a ride, man. But um, fucking when my boss called me, you brought up the mental health thing. When my boss called me and told me, "Hey, modified duties is at home. It's done. You got to come to the shop now. Light duties at the shop." Right? I'm like, fuck. I panicked, bro. I panicked. I hadn't slept away from my wife in 4 months. You know what I mean? I see my kids every day for 4 months. I panicked. I started like I got anxious and shit like that, and I froze. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, man. And I ended up. I stayed one night by myself, and they drove out and hung out with me for a couple
that's
nights. And I'm sitting there punching holes in paper with a hole puncher and using the stapler and fucking doing shit on the computer. And I'm like, nah, this ain't it, bro. I need to get back out. I need to get. If I'm gonna be working, I gotta be getting dirty outside. Like
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You go a little stir crazy, just sitting around, but you also want to be around the fam, right? I mean,
I
I'm
wasn't going stir crazy at all.
no,
No,
I guess fair enough, fair enough.
I was enjoying it, man. 13 years I've been away, and I had a rough year. Anyways, I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and I was sinking, man. I was fucking drowning, and the injury was, I guess, a silver lining. There was a silver lining to it, right? I needed that time to come home, figure my shit out, figure my mental health out. Something I couldn't do on the road, something I couldn't do sitting alone in a hotel room or in camp, right? And the podcast was sponsored by BetterHelp, and BetterHelp, gave me free therapy for 3 months,
Nice.
and so I utilized the shit out of that. I learned a lot about myself, man, and it was scary, it was enlightening, it was very emotional, right? And but if there's a silver lining to the injury for sure. I had the podcast to do. I focused a lot on my socials, focused a lot on my family, focused a lot on myself. And man, I feel incredible. I feel really good.
Yeah, well, and I guess more. I guess I didn't mean to say like going stir crazy in that sense, but I
Yeah.
guess more of anything. Like, I guess as a man, I'm a guy who I'm a single father, so I have my kid half the time, and you go probably and you work and you're away that long. Like, obviously you've been with the same lady for a long time, a little different on my end, but I mean. There's no way that you probably sometimes, or at least I know myself, you question like, why do I do all this? Why do I work? Like, because the world it weighs on a man. It can be super stressful, right? So anytime I find that I have that weight on me when my daughter's not around, and when she's around, I'm like, oh, this is what it's all for. And so like to probably be able to go home and spend 3 4 months and be reminded of like, oh my god, this is what it is actually all for, right? That it's
So,
such so beneficial because I know like there's so many guys, and it's the same for ladies. I'm not saying it. I just can't speak from their perspective, but I know as men, being away working and being away from your kids or doing whatever you got to do to provide. Sometimes I know as a man in my inner workings, you people don't want to talk about it, but it's a hard battle, right? And you got to sometimes be reminded. And so to for your wife, like you said, to come up after with the kids when you first went away and stuff, it just shows a really cool support system, and it's cool that you got that kind of love in your life.
Yeah, man, she comes up and visits me a lot in the summertime when I'm on the road, right? Obviously, she can't come visit in camp, but I'm in Saskatoon, 5.5 hours away, 5 hours from home, roughly. She drove me up last Sunday and stayed for a couple days, and she's brought me, she cooks me food, home cooked food. That way, I don't have to spend my sub out, my
Yeah.
LOA. I don't have to blow it on takeout food, and she pre-packs me meals, right? And we do all that, and I start running out, and she's coming tomorrow. She's driving up tomorrow for a couple days. She's bringing the kids. We're gonna hang out in the room. We're gonna go swimming. My kids love the pool, so we're gonna go swimming. We're gonna go get some ice cream after I'm done work. I'm gonna be dead tired, but it'll be like 7, 8 o'clock. But it's like, hey, fuck it, let's go get some ice cream, right? You're not here forever. You're not here for long, so I love that. My wife's always done that for me. There are times where she brought them to see me on Father's Day one year. She drove like the 7 hours wherever I was to come and see me on Father's Day, right? And to make sure that my kids were with me on Father's Day. Like, hey, happy Father's Day. I know you're away from home right now, but doesn't mean we have to be away from you, right? So and that's incredible. They've come to see me on Thanksgiving one year. They came up and stayed in the hotel one year, and that was everything, man. You know what I mean? Like, I've been really blessed that way. Really blessed to have Mrs. Frost and the kids behind me. I call them the Frostlings. Mrs. Frost, man, I say it all the time. The wives are the backbone of this industry,
Yeah.
right? They are the backbone. We do the work, we make the money, but they're the backbone, right?
Yeah.
And God bless her, man. So
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. But no, it's just cool to see. Like I said, like the blue collar dudes, and then out there also chasing the passion, having that kind of support. I'm definitely I'm lucky. I get my kid almost half the time, which is a blessing. But it's cool because like just again being able to have that chase those dreams and have the support of it is super fun. Like even me, I'm trying to get my daughter a little bit involved in some of the stuff I do. Like so, I have a show and a YouTube Bush League Media, and I sometimes just do random little rants here and there. And then I have a sports show that me and a friend do every Sunday, and we chat about sports, do a lot of fantasy drafts, which coming up here over the next like 2 months or so, we'll be getting into fantasy sports season and doing a
yeah,
lot of stuff with that. But I've been trying to get her involved with some of the card break stuff I'm doing and having her like a part of it. And it's pretty cool because she's been enjoying ripping like different cartoon cards and stuff like that. It's fun to again just have little ones around as much as possible and bring them into the world of like we were talking earlier in the show of having some hobbies, having some passions too. So I'm sure like when they're on the road with you, they get to see you doing this stuff too and stuff. So it's probably fun.
I try not to podcast when they're around on the road. It's
Okay.
hard. It's hard when they're here with me, and in the room, right?
I
So
mean,
like,
just like editing or stuff like that, or maybe not, because I know if you got a podcast like that, that's for me. Getting here and hanging out with you, this is awesome. This is fun. I could,
I love it.
if I could get to a point in the show where I could just be the live person and never do the editing, that would be so amazing. But editing is
Yeah,
that is the backbone of having the pod, and so I'm always like, honestly, again, just envious of you being like, oh, this guy's like got the time to be a dad. He's doing all the work, and he's got the time for all the content. How's he doing all? Because I just find I don't got the time for the content.
dude, you got to make time. You got to push through. Sometimes there's not no sleep involved, right? And
Yeah,
this week's podcast that came out yesterday. Episodes comes out every Tuesday, right? I haven't missed a Tuesday in 2.5 years, and I almost missed yesterday, dude. I was this fucking close. So I believe we recorded on a Monday. We recorded on Sunday night. I think it was Sunday night we recorded,
and you
and it was almost a 2 hour long podcast, right? And I usually stay 5 to 6 weeks ahead, or three. Try to stay 3 at least weeks ahead. Right now, with my schedule and how busy it's been, I can't. I'm staying 2 days ahead, right? It's fucking stupid. And so I recorded it and we got off at like 10 o'clock and it's a 2 hour long podcast. Well, I'm not listening back to a 2 hour long podcast on Sunday night when I got to go to bed. Right. So I pushed it till Monday night. Right. I edited it Monday night and then I went to bed. And then when I woke up Tuesday morning, I'm like, shit, I got on the RSS and and I uploaded it and set it to come out for literally 8 hours later. Right. I'm like, man, that was fucking close, dude.
For
That
me,
was
whenever I'm on the timeline like that, it seems like the uploads always fail, and I'm in a continual cycle of like, oh my god, this isn't gonna work out.
So, how did you start Bush League Media, man? Like, what's it all about, dude? I see you. You know, you got the Campfire Banters pod. You got multiple podcasts, right? You got like three.
So it started a little more. So back when I really got, I guess, touched on it a little bit, but I really got into crypto stuff many years ago, trading crypto and getting involved in kind of that finance world because I really seen like a lot of cool potential in it. And really, as we talked about, I maybe don't like the government running our finances. So it's something that really intrigued me. And then I kind of got into the NFT world a little bit, which is where I got involved with some things like VeeFriends, which is where I've had the opportunity to like do some of the Vayner sports trips and like kind of got to know Gary Vaynerchuk, if you know who he is, obviously
I know
a
who
pretty
Gary Vee is.
famous dude. Like I kind of got to know him, and that's a lot of like the stuff I rip and stuff is his product, and I kind of started it as initially kind of wanting to launch my own media company with like an NFT. I had a really bold, a huge idea at the start because I really wanted to launch it because people don't necessarily understand how an NFT or whatever works, right? But like say like the way Gary did it or something like VeeFriends. It's when done right, you're basically like raising capital for your business endeavor, but then it's not just a picture. Like it's not something you just save a picture on your computer desktop. Like it's an actual piece of tech attached to the blockchain, whether it be Ethereum or whatever, Bitcoin, whatever it might be, right? And those tokens can be used in essence almost the same way as like a discount code or whatever. But it's so intriguing to me, the tech. Like I feel like it's almost one of the craziest, coolest ways to build community because basically the way it works then is some people you own the IP to that character or with what they do for them. Everybody who has those original tokens from when he launched VeeFriends out of nothing 4 years ago, now it's a pretty big brand. Well, we get access to a lot of that product for free or discounted, which gives me the opportunity to like sell it through my show Breaking or collect it or give it to my daughter and things like that. And so Bush League Media was really a thing where I wanted to create my own art project with my little brother. He's autistic, and so he created most of the art. He's been a 3D hobby animator for like 15 years, so he kind of created the art. My friend Joel is a fitness trainer, but he runs Bam Bam's Fitness, and he has some gyms in Tabor. And so we kind of had this idea to like combine things, try to launch a bit of a membership token. And then the whole idea was just like, let's do shows. Let's do the fitness show to grow the fitness company. Let's do a sports show because I want to do like the card stuff that I enjoy collecting and stuff. And then at one point, I also kind of had just like a show kind of interviewing people in the crypto community and stuff. But then I was like, man, just too much. I'm doing like trying to edit like 3 shows, etc. So now I just do basically the sports show. And then I just try to do a little bit of like clips and stuff for like Bush League Media stuff, which is just like political rants and stuff here and there. But mostly I'm down to just pretty much doing the sports show now. We do that once a week. And then I hop on Whatnot a lot. So again, with having access to VeeFriends products, or I have products from like Saturday Morning Cards. It's a company out of California. So they have access to like all the stuff we would have grew up with, like Street Fighter, Winnie the Pooh, Popeye, Inspector Gadget. And so all these card products are like officially licensed product. And so these are like really, really sweet. And so my friends
That's
over at Mint,
cool.
oh, they're so cool. These cards are like unreal, like collector cards. I'll pull a couple of them out. Like this is like the Ryu card. Will it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, man, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, so I got access to their products. I think it's just myself and Mint Inc. Canada. They're a really cool hobby shop out in Ontario that has access to it. But just breaking products like that, shipping it out to people. That's kind of where I really found that's what I enjoy doing the most is talking sports and breaking card products. So I do a lot of stuff on Whatnot. So again, if anybody wants to check out what I'm doing, we got at Bush League Media at Bush League Sports on, I think, Instagram, and then same thing, Sport Bush League, Sport Media on Twitter, and then Bush League Media on YouTube. But right now, just really trying to get into the breaking and stuff because that's something that I enjoy. It's something I can do from home, and actually something that I've seen some potential in, like making some money before I've even gotten to the point of where you are of like actually monetizing and getting some followers. I think both my little accounts have like 100 and like 200 followers, but it's been kind of fun because on Whatnot sometimes I can hop in there, get viewers, and actually sell a bit of product. So I've been trying to figure out how to strategize that and kind of grow that out. But yeah, so kind of just in essence, the I kind of started it as a bold like art project, etc. And now it's more just with sports. I focus on doing the show, doing the breaks, and then myself and my friend Joel have an online fitness company, bambamsfitness.com, where he's got a lot of his workout programs, boxing course, etc. I help him run that website, so I just kind of manage it with Bush League Media, and that's
Cool,
it.
man.
So yeah, so just I guess a bunch of side quests, right? It's the blue collar guy on a bunch of side quests, man.
Dude, that's what I say this a lot, man. Like, most people see blue collar people and they're like, oh, go to school. You don't want to be like that person, right? Oh, you got to go to school or you'll end up like them. Man, blue collar folk have such cool fucking stories, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I work with a guy who's a vac truck driver, but he's an actor. I worked with another guy when I was in Fox Creek who was, have you ever seen the show Man in the High Castle?
No, I don't think I have. No.
It's about Nazi Germany. He was in that fucking show.
Hey,
And man, dude, like you got Brian Martin and Brian Andrews, blue collar guys. Brian Martin sings songs about the oil field, or did anyways. He's big time now. He's like bigger. Brian Andrews is a blue collar guy. You've probably seen his stuff all over the internet. It's fucking phenomenal person. He's been on the podcast twice. Um, Man, that guy sings songs for the blue collar folk or about, just everyday life. You know what I mean? And man, like blue collar people have, other passions they do outside of blue collar work. And it's usually something pretty cool.
yeah,
Look, you go off about like NFT and crypto and all this other stuff, man, and you collecting these cards and stuff, right? And like, when I'm walking down the street, people see me in my high vis and they see me dirty and they're like, "Oh, that guy, not smart, needs to go, probably should have stayed in school." They don't know is that I grinded
yeah,
out on the internet on a podcast and make content to make my people laugh
yeah, yeah.
and make myself feel good, and I fucking monetized it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, brother.
yeah, man, like that's crazy, dude. If you would have told me 15 years ago that I would be, I'd be on the shitter playing with my phone and not looking at porn, and I would be like, I'd be, yeah, like, "Hey, he's looking at his phone in the bathroom. He's pulling it while he's doing." No, man, I'm fucking making money in there. Like, leave me alone.
Well, it's funny you bring up the bathroom too, because you were well. Obviously, this show's on the Throne podcast, right? Funny story. So I was doing the show at Whatnot thing like maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And normally I don't know what you're running for a mic, but normally I just had like the stationary mic, or I'm running my MacBook mic, right? And I've started running this DJI. I love it. Like I don't know
I
if you've
love
ever ran a DJI mic, but
it.
it's
No.
just amazing. Like it connects so easy. Usually today was like literally the first time I had trouble with it when we are connecting to the show here. But so I just wear it because it's the easiest. I get good audio when I'm going like back and forth and I'm doing breaks. It's just on me, right? And so there was like, luckily, like two or three of my good friends in the break, and I don't know, I think maybe like one or two strangers. But I'm like hour and a half in, and I'm drinking coffee at night like I shouldn't be, and I'm like I gotta go, right? And so I'm like, I'm just gonna pause it, I'm just gonna take a break. We'll play some tunes for a few minutes. I'll be back in a couple, right? Used to being able to just like walk out of the room and do whatever, right? Well, I forget that the fucking mic's on my head, right? I go in the shitter and like, I mean, I dusted one. Like it was not a friendly one. It was one of the more angry sounding ones of my career. And all of a sudden at the end, I'm like, oh my god, my fucking mic's on my head, and I'm like, shut it off, right? And so I like come back in the stream, and I'm like, oh my god, and my one buddy's just laughing, it's just just because he can hear the thing go on. And so like literally for like the next show or two, I put sticky notes on the doors of my bathroom, mic on, just in case I walked over there and forgot. Because I was like, and for some reason I thought of it. I was like, oh man, that's like On the Throne podcast. I wonder if he's ever had a moment where he's just been in the throne and forgot the mic on, because that was risky. So like I was like, man, it is a good thing my show isn't big, because that would have been the most viral clip on the internet. Luckily, nobody's seen.
So I was working nights up in Dawson Creek, 3 years ago, and I get back at 2 in the morning. I was mainly working on whatever to whenever shift, and I get back at 2 in the morning, and I go live on TikTok, and I'm live in there, and I'm just chatting away, and I got a fart, right? I just let her rip, right? And it was loud, but it was more than a fart. It was one I shouldn't have trusted, right? And like you could hear it, and then like my face when looking back at the video, someone recorded, like, well, TikTok records it, but someone
Yeah.
saved it. And looking back at my face, I realized what had happened. I'm like, oh no, right? And they're
Oh,
like,
I'm live.
yeah, they're like, did you just shit yourself? And I'm like, yeah. And I got up and I moved that way across the screen, and I was supposed to, the bathroom was that way, but I panicked and I went this way. And I pulled my pants down. I'm like, oh, that's so gross. And I pull my pants back up, and I'm moving back across the screen, and I panic again, and I just sit back down, right? And I'm like, so, and then like, dude, did you just shit your pants and then not go change it? And I'm like, yeah. And I sat there for like a couple more minutes, and I'm like, fuck. I got up and I went and changed, right? It was just a gross fucking moment, right?
I'm glad that mine wasn't that. It was just an audio pack.
Yeah, man. Speaking of mics, you were asking me what mic I rock. Do you know what viscosity is?
Well, I mean, I would hope to God so if you want to run some mud weights around there, but yeah, I
Well,
know what
what's your
viscosity.
definition of viscosity?
I mean, I guess the I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, probably because I maybe allegedly had a big giant hoot before the show started. But I mean, obviously the viscosity is there. I just know viscosity, how your fluid runs, or how thick or your oil will be, or how I don't know the exact technical term for it, but just how thick my fluid would be and how fast it would run based off the measurement if I was running it out of a viscosity measurer.
How thick your load is.
There you go. There you go. That's the way.
The podcast is sponsored by the Mudman, and the Mudman deals in
Nice.
viscosity. He deals in the thickness of your load,
I
right?
like it. I like it.
Dude, absolutely. For all your drilling fluid and laboratory testing equipment needs, the Mudman, he's got your back, right? And the Mudman, he sponsors this podcast now for, well, we went around episode 14, we went on a 5 episode run, and we're on 133. So I don't know what that tells you, baby. You know what I mean? But
So
uh
the Mudman, you're keeping things under control, anyways, enough that the Mudman's happy.
the Mudman is good shit, man. He's down to ride, and I love the guy. He noticed around episode, whatever it was, the first 10 episodes were a fucking wash, I'll tell you that much. The audio sucked. I was in camp, we were having all kinds of connection issues. Whoever stayed around to listen that long, thank you. Right? Thank you. I appreciate the fuck out of you. But yeah,
I
the
had a
Mud
lot of those moments trying to get the show going where I'm like,
yeah,
I
the
don't know why
Mudman.
anyone's still here.
So the Mudman supplied a headset and a mic, and we kicked the audio issues ass, but we couldn't figure out the camp cell phones to service, or the camp Wi-Fi, or shitty hotel Wi-Fi's,
Yeah.
and we still have those issues sometimes. There's nothing we can really do about it, but the show goes on anyways, right? And so he did that, and then last summer he's like, you know what? Like I told him I need help with editing, right? I can't do it on my laptop. Guy went out and purchased me a $2,000 MacBook Pro, and now I do all the recording on it. I can get off the phone. I was recording on my phone, so if I got a phone call, it fucked the entire thing up, right? But now I record on this. The phone's over here. I can do other shit. The mic on the MacBook is superb.
It's a very good mic, yeah.
It's very good. The camera's great. So the Mudman has just continuously helped this podcast out. So www.mudmanmarket.com for all your drilling fluid and laboratory testing equipment needs. TKB, how thick is your load, brother?
Pretty thick, man. Depends how long I gotta hold her in for, but she's a good one still, buddy. I'm firing.
Do you usually do you often like release the pressure?
Um I mean, I guess it just depends, man. You know, we go through cycles in life. Sometimes you're horny, sometimes you're not, my friend.
Yeah, I fucking feel that, man, especially as we get older, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. As if it was like 16 to 30, I mean, that's a different story. We're ready to
Oh,
go
fuck,
through
rock hard,
the
buddy. How old are you?
38.
Okay, did you know that men in their mid-30s, have thicker loads than they've ever had?
Well, yeah,
Like,
I mean, we're in our prime, bro.
we're in our fucking
We're in
prime, bro. It's
absolute
too bad
fucking
my
prime.
body's fucking giving out on me, but I also take zinc every day, right?
Right.
And zinc helps with that. But men in their mid to late 30s their loads are the thickest they've ever been or ever will be again, right? And that's
Good,
insane.
good for
That's insane.
controlling
I
well.
know I don't mind. She's got to chew before she swallows, brother. You know, like it's fucking thick. You know, we're talking like a fucking 12-ounce steak over here.
Shouts to Miss Frost, right?
Shout out to Mrs. Frost, brother. Yeah, dude. Like you know, the Mud Man is good, man. You know, he's helped out a lot on the podcast, and you know, he's offered, you know,
You meet
to
him up. You meet him up north. I assume a drilling rig
no,
endeavor, or no? No,
he lives
just
in
through the show.
He
Nice.
lives in Calgary. I lived in Calgary near his shop, and he just followed me on the socials one day. And then when I started a podcast, him and I were talking before the podcast was a thing. He's just like, "Hey man, I'll give you some shirts, some hats, some stickers, hand them out to guys, keep them for yourself, whatever." And so I did that. And then when I started the podcast, I guess he started listening. I had no idea he was even listening. And then one day he's just like, "Hey, listening to the podcast," and here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I just assumed maybe it was from the drilling rig up north. One thing I wanted to ask you randomly was because you were saying you used to fly up to Fort Mac and then go north, which is something I did. I spent the winter up there on the drilling rig. Did you see? They just you would fly out of wherever you were, kind of thing. Like they'd come. Did you? Was it private jet or you just flew on like a coach liner? Or how did it work going up north there? I was
Like
just
the
wondering if there's any. Yeah, I was just wondering if you had any crazy stories touring up north with the boys or not?
So they used to fly us out of that fucking hangar there by the Edmonton airport there on a Canadian North or whatever airline. And
Yeah,
then
and
you
just a
know
little plane, like 6 passenger or 8 passenger, or what were they?
oh fuck no, 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 these were actually like pretty decent sized jets. And then I recently started working back in Fort Mac again in October on a steamer operator, right? So they flew us up to Suncor, and they use WestJet now, right?
Oh, yeah.
And fuck, you're just flying out of WestJet. But when I was on the vac truck, I rolled with I don't know if you know Northwell Oilfield Hauling.
I've heard of it, I think, but
Yeah, so I worked with the same guy that owns Northwell and Direct Drilling, the horizontal drilling, and yeah, and then TCR TerraCore Rentals. I was a vac truck swamper, fucking up there on that vac truck for 7 years, right? And so uh they were ballers. They are ballers, right? They have private jets. They got PJs, man.
yeah.
And so they wanted me on a project in Fort Mac there, a couple years ago, before the TikTok thing started, maybe. Yeah, just before it started. They flew me up on a private jet out of Villeneuve, and it was cool, man. It's cool. I was talking to his pilot. His pilot's 20 years old, and I'm like, "How much you making a year being a pilot here, brother?" He's like, "They pay me 50 grand," and I'm like, "Couldn't do it. That's not enough money." He's like, "I work 2 days a week, and I work 4 hours a day, brother." Like, you know, I'm like, "Oh, oh
Oh.
fuck, man. Good for you. You're killing it, right?" And then, so yeah, I any crazy stories on the plane? Fuck, man. We were waiting in the Calgary airport, and I don't really drink. My boss was buying us all drinks, and I was like, "Fucking whatever. They're free. They're here." I got a little bit carried away, and I was sitting in the emergency exit of the plane, and I was joking around. I'm drunk, right? I'm like, "Hey, you're telling me the fate of this whole plane is in my hands right now, right? If I pull this fucking down, the window comes out, and we're all, we're all going." And the people around me are like, "What the fuck, right? And the lady came and sat down next to me, the flight attendant. She's like, "Hey, I don't have to ask you to like settle down, do I?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. You know, I'm sitting in fucking. This is cool. I've never sat in a fucking emergency exit before, right?" She goes away, and I start doing it again. She's like, "Hey, if I gotta come back here one more time, I've gotta move you, okay?" And I'm like, fucking fine, right? So I stayed quiet, and then that's the last time I really drank at the airport with the boys. You know, I was just like chilling. You know, it was like, yeah, no, I can't, I couldn't afford to miss my flight or we possibly get kicked off the plane, right? So
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. We used to fly in and out. They would pick us up. Some of us in Saskatoon, some people up in Edmonton, but they would fly, stop in Saskatoon, grab a bunch of us, go up Edmonton or wherever, and then one of the other guys was in a. Can't remember where we used to pick him up. Somewhere in between, but they would pick us all up, take us up north. So we kind of had a little private plane for the 5 or 6 of us every time we flew in and out there, and then we would kind of do the drive like 4 hours north into the bush, radioing in and out, and that the truck roads up there, right? But we would always fly. We kind of got to know the pilots really good back and forth. And one of the times we were coming out and it was like storm and ice rain, and we were done our hitch. We're supposed to go home, and it's ice rain. The plane can't take off from the Fort Mac airport. And I'm sure you know the little private airport that they have there. Perhaps it's Fort Mac's not the hugest city, so if you spent a lot of time up there, I'm sure you've been by it.
Fort
But
Mac's got a pretty big airport nowadays. They made it into an international thing, yeah.
well, I don't think the private one is at the actual airport.
Oh, are
But
you
like,
talking Firebag?
yeah,
Okay, Firebag. Okay.
and then but we'd fly in there. Yeah, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, Firebag, and then we'd drive up through the roads up there. But so the one time we'd fly in, and so they're like, okay, well, we don't know when we can leave until we get clearance. And me and the boys are like, okay, well, like, can you just like call us? We'll go do some stuff. And it's the pilots, like, we give them our number, they have it. So we go to the casino, and we're just like getting piled up, got Pilsner, like just getting juiced up. And all of a sudden they call, like, we're just on one. They're like, "Okay, you guys got to get here. We have like an hour to leave." So I just remember it was just like one of the wildest trips ever. It was me and the boys all piled back. We're like trying to bring cases of beer on the plane because we're all piled up. They're like, "No, like, you guys can't do that." We're on the plane. I'm sure we stuck a few on there, right? And boys are partying all the way back, wrestling each other. Like, I'm pretty sure I had a bleeding nose, and we were just laughing. Like, me and the boys are all just wrestling, battling each other. I remember they stopped to drop the one guy off at whatever that midpoint was, and our one buddy, he gets out and he's walking on the tarmac. He's smoking a cigarette, and there I just remember the lady just yelling like, "You can't be smoking cigarettes on the tarmac. There's airplane fuel. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, get the fuck back in the plane." Back in the plane to Saskatoon. I remember being so piled up that I got there and I was like, "There is." Like, I cannot drive home. Actually, I had to like call a. I don't even think Uber existed back then. I had to call the taxi, get out of there. But that's like going back to the. I don't know why I sidetracked off of that, but it was just something I thought about when me and you were talking about up north, and it brings back the memories. But that's that kind of blue collar camaraderie of those things you get when you work
Yeah.
these jobs with crews, whether it be on the road or going up north or wherever it be. You just kind of have these good times with the boys that will always somehow be some of the best times too. Obviously, family, kids, that's
Yeah.
always the best. But you can never shy away from the time with the boys that are out there putting in the heart, or girls. There's a lot of girls in the trade too now, which is awesome to see. But whatever the commodity is, it's just cool to be out there and having that fun and having those stories. Even that plane, one of the pilots was a lady and a dude, and they loved us. But I think they might have been annoyed with us on that trip for sure.
I uh I have some really good stories working on the road crew the last 10 years, man. One year, I think it was the first COVID season. We weren't really allowed to be hanging out. You know, we had to share rooms up until that point too, right? Like we had to share rooms on the road, which is stupid. But yeah, up until then, you know, COVID came and boom, own room. It was great. But we all still hung out together in everyone else's room, right? We'd all get together in one room, and that would be the party room and stuff like that, right? And we'd hang out there. One of the guys, he brought a limo with him. He had a limo, just a
Nice.
fucking limo for some reason. He brought it with him, and he was one of the truckers. He would haul it around on his lowboy all fucking summer long. He just hauled it from town to town to town wherever we went. And I
That's
was
pretty sweet.
I was the DD, so like I got to drive this fucking limo. I drove the guys around in the limo all summer long, man. You know, we'd all go there sober, and I'd be driving, and they got me a cap and everything for it, man. I wore like a and they paid me. They buy me dinners and stuff like that, or give me $10 here and there, and let's go to Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza. One night we're in Regina. We're in Regina, and it's like 2 in the morning, and I'm cruising around in this fucking limo. I'm like, man, we should get back. We gotta be up in 3 hours.
Gotta go to dancers. You're in Regina.
Yeah, so we're driving around Regina, and I turn down this road, and it's a one way, and I'm like, fuck, I'm going the wrong way down a runway, one way in a fucking limo, right? Like this is crazy. So, anyways, buddy there, he's from around there. He's like, hey man, pull up, go this way, pull up this way. We end up around Mosaic Stadium, right? And fucking they all get out, and I stay with the car because I ain't got getting involved in these shenanigans. They get out, they hop the fence of Mosaic Stadium, they're running around the football field at nighttime, 2 in the morning, right? And I'm like, fuck, man, like I'm never telling this story to anyone. I guess it's too late for that. Uh, but like, yeah, and then
The
just
statute of
running
limitations has expired.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just doing that kind of shit, man. And oh my god, we were in Lac La Biche one year, and there's this fucking one of the truckers again. It always starts with one of the fucking truckers, but one of the truckers, man, he met this girl while he's outside having a cigarette. Right, she's on the balcony, 2 doors down, and she's just hanging out, and eyeballing, right. And she starts talking to him, and he invites her back into the room, right. And we're all just hanging out, and I come in. And I'm been with my wife 20 years. I don't want none of this shit, right? I
Yeah.
I don't want none of it, right? And turns out she's in a relationship. She's married. Her or whatever. Her boyfriend is in the room 2 doors down, sleeping. He's fucking got to work. He's works in the oil field, and he's sleeping. And she's like, "Well, my boyfriend's boring, right? Like my boyfriend doesn't do anything fun ever." Well, no, girl, it's fucking midnight, and he's got to be up and fucking he's being responsible is what's happening here. And you're just hanging out with a bunch of degenerates is what's going on here. And like we're all hanging out in the room there, and they're drinking and partying and carrying on. She goes to the bathroom, comes out, no shirt on. No shirt on. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, and my coworker, like the trucker looks at me, he's like, what are you gonna do about that? I'm like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here, is what I'm gonna do about
I'm
it.
gonna have
Right.
no part of this whatsoever.
I went to bed. I'm like, fuck this, right? Well, they hung out a little while longer. Turns out, some shit went down, yada yada yada, whatever. Her boyfriend ended up knocking on the door the next night. Apparently, she was back over there, right? And shit, I don't know what happened after that, but yeah, man. Fuck. Oh, another time I was the DD once again, and I actually got a steak dinner for this. We were in Smoky Lake, Alberta, and the boys were down the road in Warspite, and they found a bar down there, and they were drinking, carrying on, and they asked me to be the DD. I drove them there, and they're like, "We'll call you when we want to come back," right? And I'm like, "Fuck that! I ain't getting up at 2 in the morning or whatever it is to drive down the highway, go pick you up." So I just jumped in the back seat and slept in the back
Had
seat.
an happener.
Right? Fucking buddy, they come roaring out of there at like 2:30 in the morning, just like hollering, like, let us in, we gotta go, right? Fucking man, they're like, get in. They started some shit with a local in the bar. And Buddy lost his phone that night, didn't get it back, which ended up being detrimental to his fucking health. But like, we get back to the hotel, and a couple days later, he hasn't talked to his old lady in a couple days, eh? And she's getting a little like fucking antsy. He didn't get his phone back, right? She doesn't know what's going on. She shows up she shows up. She drives out to where we're at. She shows up, and there's another woman in his room, right? Just fucking, it was a domestic. The cops showed up and everything, man. And I'm just like, yo, I'm just the DD, bro. Like, this is great, right? And fucking, oh, dude, just why, wild times on the road, wild
Oh,
roads.
you get a group of guys together that are drinking, all kinds of crazy shit happens. I remember me and the boys taking home like the Captain Morgan like blow up thing, strategizing how to get the giant like 8-foot statue out of the bar so we could bring it to the rig in the morning, and like taking the Captain Morgan, putting him in the back of the truck, bringing him to the rig in the morning. I mean, probably not what a guy's supposed to say, but there's a lot of hungover shifts in a guy's 20s. working any blue collar job. That's
I
for
made a
sure.
video about
That's
that
what
last year. I made a video about that in October, November, where I was with my coworker, and it was like when me and my coworker are no longer in our 20s. It's like, I don't want to change. Well, that ain't us up there no more, Polly. We ain't in our 20s no more. Like it's from fucking Rocky, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't want to change. Well, that ain't us up there no more, Polly. Like we ain't young bucks no more, right? And fucking there's another time, fucking Fort St. John, man. Holy shit. We're staying in camper trailers out in the middle of the bush, out in the pit. I was crushing rock. And this guy Kiefer, he's from Grand Prairie. Shout out to Kiefer if he listens. But Kiefer, man, I was tasked with being his helper or his keeper. I was tasked with being his keeper this night. He was gonna get rowdy. He was gonna do some dumb shit, and it was my job to keep him alive, right? Well, like this is my first. So anyway, how do I say this story without being? Yeah, anyway, so I fucking we go to town. We go to town and Kiefer ends up at a buddy's house, right? And he's already drunk. And Buddy's cutting up a little bit of. He's cutting up lines. Fuck it. He's cutting up lines. Let's
Oh,
be
yeah,
real.
yeah, yeah,
Lines.
yeah.
And Kiefer's drunk, right? He doesn't know what's going on, and he goes. They go to give him whatever to do his thing, and I'm like, nope. None of that for you today, buddy. We gotta go this way, right? Like you're already making some bad decisions. Let's not make them worse, right? So we end up downtown. I've never been to Fort St. John. We end up fucking downtown Fort St. John. And we go to this club, this bar, and he's just like paranoid at it. He's drunk and whatever else at this point. And he's like, man, are the bouncers staring at me? I think they're staring at me, bro. He's like, I'm gonna fight one. Let's go. And I'm like, nope.
Sounds like he did do the rail.
Sit the fuck down. And he keeps eyeballing one. And he finally the one like looks at him and they're just eyeballing each other. And I'm like, bro, stop looking at the fucking bouncer. He doesn't care, right? And fucking so we I might edit the buddy's name in this story because fucking dude anyway, fucking so he ends up getting up and walking over to the bouncer, and the bouncer looks at me is like, you better handle your boy, right? And I'm like, this is my job, bro. I'm his handler. I'm in my like mid-20s, right? I'm like, fuck, So I usher him this way. He goes outside, and I followed him out, but he disappears. I don't know my way around Fort St. John, brother. I don't know. Oh, it wasn't Fort St. John, by the way. It was Prince George. It was Prince George.
Same
Yeah.
difference.
So fucking I don't know we were on PG. So we ended up going to this thing. Fucking I said he disappeared. Okay, he disappeared. I'm like, where the fuck is this guy? And he doesn't have his phone on him. I don't know where he is. I just start dipping into every building I can see that looks like it'd be fun to go into, right? And suddenly I started hearing some screaming, and he's like, "Stop fucking looking at me! Don't look at it!" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I follow it, man. This guy's picking fights with dudes twice his size down the street, right? And I'm like, "Hey, we're going, man. We gotta go." Right? I grab him. I fucking find our way back to the truck, and we head back to the trailer, man. And I'm just like, "That's it. That's it. I'm done with this. It's late, and I gotta work, right? And we both gotta work."
The boys just fucking on one, eh?
Just on one, man. Dude, the road crew has been wild for that, fucking yeah. The road crew is you've never truly you could party. You could say you've partied with some riggers, but until you party with some fucking construction workers who are fucking, a lot of them are young kids who just never made money before, but when they get it, and then we don't have any young kids on the crew anymore, and the crew's a little less rowdy these days, right? But like
Yeah.
we're all getting old too. We've all worked together long time.
Oh yeah, I remember like when I first started with the cruise, we were out partying. I think it was in Swift Current. Not the Big Eye, Caddyshack. Used to be the Caddyshack in Swift Current, and we were all getting piled up, and it was seeing if a guy could go vodka orange for vodka orange with the boys, right? And I just remember like me and the boys would party and we're on a big one. I somehow on a like side quest try to go to like the Big Eye by myself. Don't remember what happened. Wake up in the morning. I slept on the sidewalk outside the hotel room because I couldn't get in. I lost my keys. And I just remember the push coming to wake me up. What the fuck are you doing on the sidewalk? Are you coming to work or what? And I'm like, oh my God, like I don't even know how I got here. Soaking wet, go to get in the crew truck. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? You better get changed. You're coming back. I have no clue what the fuck me and the boys even did the night before. Hop in the truck, go to work. There's like, there's so many stories, man. But
Oh, so many.
my one buddy, the one night we went out partying, he comes back the next day and he's hungover, he's pissed, and he's under the pump truck out at the rig, right? And he's like, I'm gonna go grease the truck. So he goes over and we're like, it's like an hour and a half. We're like, what's he doing over there? Like, did he die? Like, I just gotta go check on him. The most genius thing I ever seen in my life. He's under the truck. He went under there with the grease gun. Tarp straps his hand up to the drive shaft, and he just went to sleep. So it looked like he was doing something. He just went out a nap for like an hour and a half. I was like, that's the smartest thing I've ever seen, man. He got a strategic tarp strap. So it looked like he was greasing.
I almost have more fun as the DD being sober, watching them
watching them. Yeah.
Oh, just dude, it's great. I remember this one's Fort St. John. I remember we were in Fort St. John. I don't know if you ever been to Fort St. John?
No, I don't think I have.
They used to have a strip club there called the Dill, the Condo.
Nice.
And they called it the Dill. And they attempted to make this thing family friendly during the day, right? Bring the family on, as a radio ad. Come on down to the Condell Pub and Grill. Bring the family. Kids are welcome till 7, right? Shit. Okay, right. So I'm DDing once again. We were working on Site C, the damn Site C there. We were working up there, and fucking we all went out for the Christmas party. That's what it was. They gave us a Christmas party. We were pissed that we weren't going to get to be a part of the Christmas party, so they brought the Christmas party to us. They gave us the next day off too, which is kind of nice. So we were up there working, and I'm the DD, and I'm sitting outside waiting. We had all eaten, and I'm like, all right, cool, we're leaving. I'm gonna pull the truck around. I was out there for fucking almost 3 hours, bro, playing on my phone, talking to my wife. Shit. This car fucking pulls out in front of me, she gets out, she's like, you wouldn't happen to have a cigarette, would you? And I'm like, no, I don't smoke. She's like, I'll suck your dick for a cigarette. And I'm like, I don't smoke. Get the fuck away. And I rolled the window up. She's like, fuck you. And then she pulls her pants down. She pisses on the side of my truck.
That's some wild shit.
Bro, yeah. Dude, shit, man. Oh, fuck, man. Just wild time. There's a lot of stories on the road.
So man, that reminds me of a time randomly in Vancouver, because same thing, kind of at the strip club, Number 5 Orange. And my buddy, they smoke, I don't, right? So they go outside, and my buddy comes back in. He's got a giant eagle head statue. And I'm like, what the why do we have an eagle head statue now? And he just say things. I'm outside, and this lady come running out of nowhere, yelling at me. She wants $20. You're gonna give me a blowjob? He's like, I don't want the fucking blowjob. Who the fuck is this lady? And so then she offered me an eagle head. I just said, sure, I bought it. And so fucking this eagle head was just the monument of the crew then forever about the lady that tried giving buddy a blowjob in the street. And I think he still has it to this day. Like 15 years later, I just giggle every time I see the fucking.
I was in St. Paul, Alberta. We got rained out. I get back to the hotel. I'm just sitting in the truck chilling, right? I just want to unwind before I got to walk into my room, right? It's quiet and lonely in there, and in the truck, whatever. It's quiet and lonely in there too, but I just want to chill in the truck, right? So I get back. I didn't lock the door. I'm sitting in there chilling. Fucking door opens. It's some woman. You gotta smoke? This happened fucking. This is not the first time that fucking thing. Gotta smoke? Sorry, I don't smoke. She's like, I'll suck your dick. And I'm like,
you could be in this situation a lot.
It happens a lot, bro. Some woman offered she's like, you gotta smoke? And I'm like, no, I don't smoke. She's like, I'll let you smack my ass. And I'm like, I don't smoke. Like no? Like what the fuck, bro? Shit, dude.
There's some sketchy fun that goes on. I haven't been to all those cities up there, but I know there's a lot of fun that is also chaotic a little bit.
Oh yeah. No,
some characters, I guess you could say.
It's a good time, man. I was up in Thompson, Manitoba. I worked in Flin Flon. The Paw. Apparently, the Paw is like the AIDS capital of Canada. And we're working up there, and my boss had to give a speech like, please please, for the love of God, don't go. Stay off the Tinder, stay off the dating apps. Fucking don't bring anything home from the bar. You guys will live to regret it, right? And fucking buddy didn't listen. He got the clap.
Hey, boys gotta wander, right?
Hey man,
We
easiest
don't
one
learn.
to
We
get.
don't learn. We don't learn until
Easy,
we're a little
easy,
older.
easiest one to get, easiest one to get rid of. He is his fucking words. He's like, yeah, I got the clap from the
I've,
chick in
I've,
the car.
I
He's
might
like,
have said that before in
easiest
my
one to
career.
get, man, and I only have to take 1 or 2 pills and it's gone. Like, what the fuck?
I can't say I've never said that before.
Ooh, that's gross, man. Nasty.
Hey, sometimes you just never know what you're getting into, man. You're just out there having some fun.
Yeah, that's fucked, man. Hey, man, where can people find you on the socials?
At I think Bushing Media or at Bushing Sports is where they can hit it. I got the TKB one that you follow, but that one I made it private. I don't know. I just something
Okay.
about having my little girl. There's like some weird people that lurk around, so
Yeah,
I prefer to probably focus it on Bushing Media or Bushing Sports or on
that's
Twitter, on Instagram, and then Bushing Media on YouTube. We're live usually every Sunday with a show, and then sometimes I'll pop up live on Twitter or on Instagram when we're doing breaks and stuff on whatnot, and people can hop
how
in
do
on.
you go live on Twitter?
How do you go live on Twitter? StreamYard.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. How
I
many
did.
followers you got on Twitter?
On Twitter was so say I think my Bushing Media account maybe has like 1,200. My personal account, which I'm not private on Twitter, you can follow me on there. I think that one I got like 4,500 or something like that. So nothing too huge, but yeah, no StreamYard. I can show you how I do it all because usually you probably have the same access, but when I go live, we usually go live Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram all at the same time. Just
Instagram's a bitch to go live on, eh? Like you gotta
um,
copy the stream key
yeah.
in there and fucking it's not working right now either. I think there's a big push to I think Instagram's trying to get rid of their live access on the app.
Oh, really? Are they? I mean, Instagram. It's always been annoying. I know you know as a creator. I kind of like how this conversation we're like blue collar and then creator, blue collar,
Yeah, yeah.
creator. But like they've always just made it hard. Like I feel like every time I've gotten in a rhythm with like Instagram or Facebook, Twitter's actually been okay, but they change it and like because for there was the longest time you couldn't schedule a tweet on Insta or a post on Instagram with like adding any tags, adding anything like that. So it was like made it like literally impossible to like schedule your content out. And then eventually you could schedule the content out, and et cetera, et cetera. Right. But if anyone looks at the profile picture, I'll probably have the long hair will be out though. It won't look short like that. My hair is like so long. I just got it up today. But no, find me on there. Check us out. We'll be chatting sports, especially now, like I was saying earlier, through July, August here. I love doing fantasy drafts. It's like probably one of my biggest passions on earth is doing like fantasy football, fantasy hockey draft. So we'll be doing a lot of like sports breaks, chatting a lot of fantasy draft, helping people, win money, take out their buddies. Bush League Media, like for me, my last name's Bush, right? TKB.
I
So it's
honestly didn't know that.
yeah, no, so that's it's hyphenated Kennedy Bush, but so Bush League is like, I still not now. I haven't for a year or two now, but I mean, still played like rec league hockey, and so it was always kind of a thing for me of like, just again, just having fun when you're older, and joking around a little bit, and not taking things too seriously, but yet like having fun doing it and trying to be good at it. I guess I like the Bush League because I can just like write off anything half-ass as like it's just this Bush League Media. That's kind of the little thing I lean into a little bit on it. But I need to get into some more segments too. I want to do some like little content clips of like now that's Bush League and then some stuff like
Oh,
that and
that'd
shit
be
like
great.
that. I got a couple.
Oh, you muted. Yeah, there you go. You're back.
My
It
mic,
said,
this mic just died, but you can hear me good with the other one.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
but yeah, no, I was gonna say just check us out Bushing Media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and then or Bush League Sports, and you'll get mostly sports on the sport one, and you'll get a little bit of political rants with the Bush League Media one as well too.
Hell yeah, man. I love that, dude.
A lot of stuff like I was showing you earlier too. But yeah, no, come check it out. Come hang out on Sundays and check out the website bushleaguemedia.com. We'll get some. You can buy into the rips and access the draft leagues and stuff from there.
I
Do you
can't.
play any fantasy sports?
So the first time I ever played fantasy hockey was this year. I joined the work hockey pool,
Nice.
and I was second last the entire season. Bet huge on Ovechkin having a big year and Austin Matthews having a good year. Ovechkin missed 16 games with a broken leg before he broke the record. Austin Matthews had a really bad year, 30 some odd goals, but like he had a bad year considering he scored 69 the year prior. And I was second last the entire year. Didn't even know we were in the playoffs. Next thing you know, I won the championship. I won the whole damn thing, man. I was like, fuck, what? This is crazy. So first time I ever played, man. Yeah, it was wild.
You just had a good luck run through the playoffs. You didn't even set your lineup either, or what? Or were you like still setting the lineup? You just didn't
I
know
was
you.
still setting the lineup. I didn't know we were in the playoffs, though. Yeah,
That's at least that's a little better. I was gonna say, oh, there's nothing worse as a fantasy player than getting dusted by a guy that doesn't set his lineup. You just want to when that happens.
yeah, dude. I had no idea how the whole damn thing worked. I just dropped $50 in the pool and said I'm in, and we did the draft. My team was old. I had Ovechkin, Jack Eichel. I
That's how
had
it starts, though, because you start with the names you know, right?
yeah,
Honestly, like for me with fantasy hockey, I started a lot younger. I used to started doing drafts when I was like 13 with my dad, with the officials and stuff that used to all ref hockey together. I'd go do those drafts. But like you find a lot of people when they first come into drafting, usually it's the old guys, the people they know. And then something I found over time is you like really get to know sports, like football. I know everybody in football because I doing drafting and stuff. And it's actually same thing. I over the years I used to dummy the boys in fantasy hockey. So eventually they're like, "Oh, you got to come like play fantasy football. It's way harder. You don't watch it, we'll whoop your ass." And it's became like my favorite thing ever. Like I love watching football on Sundays. I still watch CFL too when the Riders are playing. I always tune into that. But NFL Sundays, football and fantasy, it's just like one of my favorite
I
things.
just I just started getting into NFL. I Hockey. I feel like I think the NHL is a trash league. I think the NHL is dog shit. Right? I'm a Leaf fan, diehard Leaf fan. But I live and die by the Leafs, but the league is dog shit.
I think
Um,
it's been a little bit stagnant forever with like Bettman running it. And I know
yeah,
people have their places, but I hate the playoff format. It's because it's the same
yeah,
teams play each other every year, and I'm so
yeah,
sick of it. I wish it would go back to 1 versus 8. Like,
yeah.
because it
Stupid.
just you every year, like as a Leafs fan, as much as like it's funny in the memes and they lose all the time,
I
but
don't
like
want to see them play Boston 90 times and
yeah,
now in
Boston's
Florida.
so fucking good. It's the same as seeing Edmonton and Florida go back to back. Like
Like the
you're
same as
just
seeing the Oilers play the Kings every year in the first round.
well, and you're going to get that, right? Like you're never going to get the way it's structured. If a team is better than a team, they're always going to keep beating them. Where the 1 versus 8, I feel like that might have happened sometimes, or you got Detroit, Pittsburgh go back to back and stuff. But you would have different teams match up because they're forcing matchups within your conference now, right? Where like maybe there is a team that could knock out Florida, but they're never going to play them because it's just not going to work out that way. And I don't like that it literally the whole point of them doing it was trying to create forced rivalries, and they've done that. But I hate it personally.
Yeah. So football, I find with football, I can watch any game
Yeah,
and be instantly entertained. It doesn't matter if it's the Commanders versus the fucking what's a shitty team, the Arizona Cardinals, or is that a baseball
yeah, like
team?
not like the Carolina Panthers or something like that, or the
Yeah.
Jets or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
it's all entertaining. The NHL, I have to be emotionally invested in at least one team, and even then, I might not even like the game.
If you have any interest, we'll chat after the show here because we're going long and probably want to wrap up in a bit. But if you want, you should join a fantasy football league because especially if that's how you feel. Because like for me, I joined a fantasy league, then started watching football, and I was just like, this is awesome. But having that little bit of skin in almost every game, now it's even more entertaining because I have like one player going, and now when you get to that Monday night game where everything's on the line every week and you're going to win or lose your match, it's like it does not matter who's playing Monday. You're just so involved. So you should get in on one. It makes, especially being on the road, it makes it like so entertaining. And I've honestly found, again, maybe it's a reason why I like fantasy sports and stuff so much, but it's that camaraderie. Is I maybe move away a little bit from like my job. It's a lot of solo work. I'm not in work crews like I used to be back when I worked on the rigs and stuff
Yeah,
like that. But I find that a fantasy sports league is like you keep in touch with your boys. Like I have a reason to talk to some of my buddies who maybe you would only talk to once a year otherwise. Well, now football season, we're beaking back and forth, trading, talking about, even if it's just talking about football, it's still like, it's just cool to have that connection where like me and the boys, we used to do these drafts because I used to host them all. Like Bush League drafting is like, I've always been the guy that's hosted all the drafts. And so that's like a big part of what we do with Bush League Media. But the drafts used to be at my house, right? We would come, it would be a fucking party, everybody would be blackout drunk, we'd go to the bar, it'd be, everything would be on paper, and then I'd enter it on computer the next day, right? And then over time technology changed, but also like life changes, right? The boys grow up, they move away, they got kids. Like now, like our fantasy football league, 3 guys are in Ontario, a guy's in BC, one guy's in California, one guy was down in Nicaragua for a while, but we would all still like be playing fantasy sports and BSing and hanging out. So I'll have to get you in a league if you want to
Yeah,
have some
I'll
fun.
definitely talk to you about it for sure. We'll have to figure that out. But yeah, man, we are definitely getting on with time here. But
Well, we started slow, but we were ripping, so we'll maybe have to reconvene down the
oh,
road and
I'm
get some
always
beers
down.
going
I'm
along.
always down, man. I'm always down. We're anytime you want to record, you reach out, but hey, want to do a podcast? Fuck, I'm in, bro. I'm never gonna say no.
Anytime you're like, fuck, I'm up against my wall. Like I don't have a show for Tuesday. I'm a day out here. Just hit me up. I'll hop on.
I'm
We'll
in, man.
that streak
Um,
stay alive.
I like to wrap the podcast up with one last question, brother. And Mount Rushmore has four of the most influential people on the rock. If you
Okay.
could add your own Mount Rushmore, four people that you look up to, inspire to be, or that have inspired you, who would they be and why?
Ooh, that's a good one out of
Well,
nowhere.
you
Hey,
know, I'm talking about, the thickness of your load and chewing it before you swallow and having a good conversation to like, I'm going to slap you with some fucking like, you know?
Mount Rushmore of my life, you would say. Um,
Yeah.
well, that means gotta be my own mama, right? You gotta put mama on the Mount Rushmore. You can never go without mama. She's raised what I hope to be a good kid that has a little respect and works hard, plays hard. So you got to put mama on the old Mount Rushmore. Um, I mean, maybe it's a cop out, but can I put my little girl on there? Because I
For
mean,
whoever you want to put on. It's your
yeah,
Mount Rushmore, brother.
my little girl got to be on there because women rule the world, but those two are my world, right? So those two that little girl puts the biggest smile on my face in the history of the world. So I'm definitely
Oh,
a
yeah.
big touch there. I mean, there's like so many role models, so many friends and stuff in my life. It's hard to put it to four, right? Like there's so many people that have been there when I needed them. I mean, even recently I was having some mental struggles, and a lot of people reached out. So I mean, it's hard to stick at the four. So if any of the homies are listening, I mean, it's all the homies. Everybody's
Shout
has
out to the
out
homies.
there that does that. But I would say too, maybe I think I mentioned earlier, but Gary Vee, he's been a big inspiration in my life of
Gravy.
helping me, overcome some obstacles, learn a little bit more about myself as a person, and become a better person, which is a cool thing. And to have him be as humble as he is for the position he's in the world, and have like taken time in his life to have conversations with me and stuff. That's
So you
pretty.
talk directly to Gary? Like he knows you, you guys know each other?
Yeah. Like we know each
That's
other. We like if I DM'd him, he would reply. I've kind of since been involved with the V Friends thing. I've met him a couple times through like Vayner Sports and through that. And
cool.
honestly, might probably have him on the show one day in the future. I just don't want to waste the opportunity. I've wanted to try to grow the show a little bit before I had him come on there. And honestly, now that I say that, I really look back and probably for no other reason than like some personal reasons, but Jason Ellis is a pretty cool dude who did a lot of helping me learn about myself back when I was probably 25, 26. He came out with a story of some stuff that had affected him as a childhood, and how to overcome it. And my story wasn't the same as his, but seeing a man who was like that much of a man be able to admit like mentally what was going on, and be able to admit and talk about it, and open up and say like, hey, as a man, we're allowed to talk about our feelings, we're allowed to get it out there. And for me, when I finally took that step to like talk to some of my family, talk about things that had maybe went on that people didn't know about, that maybe formed some of the, quirks I had as a kid and stuff like that. It was cool because as soon as I got some of that hidden bullshit that was inside me, I think as any man, if there's shit inside you, it just eats you alive, whether you know it or not. And as soon as you speak it out into the world, you're able to overcome it. Like at 25, 26, that's when I stopped drinking. And
Oh,
that's when I started becoming just a better person, started my business. And even though, same thing, Jason's a person maybe I wouldn't say either of them are like my friend. They're famous people, but people who give me their time and I've gotten to know, like, I guess I would say friend, but I don't want to say like friend, and I don't want them to
yeah.
watch me. I haven't hung out with this guy on the weekends, you know what I mean? But like two people that have inspired me in some pretty cool ways to be on a journey of chasing my dreams of chasing the Bush League media thing and doing that stuff. But that just it was cool to see someone who I looked up to, a guy who when I was like 12 had his pictures up on my wall when I was skateboarding, and he was a big guy in DC, to eventually have that person be someone who taught me that it's okay to have feelings and be a man, that helped me become a better man, because I don't think any man is their best person when they're drinking and maybe hiding emotions that, again, I didn't even know I was doing it until I really got the things off my chest that I knew were bugging me. And all of a sudden I was like, man, wait a minute, I don't need to like drink, I don't need to do anything. So it's super random out of nowhere. But yeah, two really close family members, mom and kiddo, and then I guess two somewhat famous people that have inspired
That's
me.
good.
And so
That's
if I
pretty
had to
bad.
sit down, I would probably come up with some other ones, but that's where we'll go with it for
That's
today.
badass, man. Like you said, getting it out and like and like talking about it, bro. 20 years I've been with my wife. This year, I learned I got borderline personality disorder, and communication is key to someone who has that. And we've had some hard conversations. She's seen me cry more times in the last 4 months than she had in the previous 20 years. And like, I feel better about it talking about this shit, right?
Yeah,
And also, she convinced me, along with my therapist, to journal this shit. And when I thought of journal, I thought of diary, and I thought diary is some woman shit, right?
this is muy chill.
And dude,
It
what
ain't.
it did was it took all my thoughts from here to the paper, and it cleared room in there. That shit's no longer in here, right? Right? It's no longer consuming space in my brain, right? I feel it, I write it down, I put it aside. When I want to read it, reflect, go back, share, it's right there on the paper. And that's where it'll always be. And dude, I feel like had I continued on the trajectory that I was on last year, just the way I was feeling, bottling things up and hiding, I guess hiding from myself really. If had I continued doing that, I probably would have been close to dead, if not dead already. It was bad, man. I was feeling some shit. My childhood was catching up to me, I guess. And shit that just shit with my parents. It was catching up with me, right? So, um, what was that? I said to my wife the other day, I want to be someone my kids don't have to heal from.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, even I would have loved to put my dad on the Mount Rushmore, but we got some stuff we got to work through if he wants to be that person on there. And sometimes you have to, whatever it might be in life, sometimes you got to work through what that is, and you're inside even, and it can be hard, right? But
My
yeah,
dad's on my Mount Rushmore, but for different reasons, right? Probably the same reason why he'd be on yours. My dad's on my Mount Rushmore because it's important for me that when I look up, I want to look up and be like, all right, well, whatever way he went, I'm going the opposite way. He's a beacon up there to show me to do things differently.
yeah, and I mean, and again, yeah, my dad, if he's ever watching it, I love him. He did a lot of things right. It's a deeper story. I won't get into it today. Maybe that's one for me and you personally one day when we sit down and chat about it. But at the end of the day, it's just whatever it is if there's any message for any man working anything, doing anything, it's you got to talk about it, whatever it is, and it's so huge to be able to do that, and
Absolutely.
whether it's a friend, whether sometimes a friend is good, but sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes you need to talk to the people directly or the people in your family that you feel like was affected by it. I mean, sometimes all you have is a therapist. You don't always get those options to go back and talk to those people. Maybe they're not around, right? But just talking about it, and it somebody out there will care and somebody will understand, and every all of us matter, right? We need the Dick Frosts out there. So I'm glad you're
Ah,
finding the happiness, and because I mean I battle it some days, right? And I just at the end of the day know we need strong men to be there to lead the young boys and girls that are coming up, right?
fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah. Man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, brother. This has been my baby for 2.5 years now, and uh, thanks
Well,
for being a part of this journey.
yeah, and I appreciate you having me on here. Obviously, as a smaller creator, you're been doing very well. So I honored to have a spot on your show, and thanks for having me here. I appreciate it big time.
Hell yeah, brother. Hey, Tyrone, stay frosty, brother.
Stay bush league, you beauty.
Oh shit.